Did you know? Before refrigerators were invented, people risked their lives just so others could enjoy a cold drink. Every winter, thousands of men walked onto frozen lakes. In their hands were giant saws, beneath their feet, a sheet of ice that could crack at any moment, and under that ice was freezing water cold enough to kill a person within minutes. Yet they returned year after year, not to find gold, not to hunt, but to collect something that today we get simply by opening a refrigerator: ice. This is the story of one of the strangest and most dangerous jobs in history. The ice cutters, the men who harvested winter itself. Today, getting ice takes only a few seconds. But 200 years ago, ice was a luxury. There were no refrigerators, no freezers, no ice makers. During the summer, milk could spoil within hours. Meat quickly went bad. Keeping food fresh was incredibly difficult. Even hospitals needed ice to cool medicine and treat patients with high fevers. Restaurants, taverns, and wealthy families were willing to pay a fortune for it. And because of that demand, an unusual industry was born. Every winter, when the lakes froze solid, the ice cutters began their work. They woke up before sunrise. They carried saws, iron hooks, ropes, and even horses. The first step was clearing the snow from the frozen lake. Then they carefully marked long, straight lines across the ice. Soon, the entire lake looked like a giant chessboard. Then the cutting began. The sound of metal scraping against ice echoed across the frozen landscape, hour after hour. The men cut deeper and deeper, until finally, massive blocks of ice broke free. Some weighed more than 200 pounds. Using iron hooks, the workers dragged the blocks through narrow channels. Then horses pulled them onto the shore. But that was only the beginning. The ice was then stored inside enormous buildings called ice houses. It sounds impossible, but by covering the blocks with sawdust and straw, the ice could survive for months. When summer arrived, those same blocks of ice were shipped to cities. They were used to preserve food, cool drinks, and serve wealthy customers. At that time, drinking a glass of ice-cold water was considered a luxury, because someone had risked his life on a frozen lake to make it possible. But this job was incredibly dangerous. The ice wasn't always thick enough. One small crack, and an entire section could collapse. Many workers fell into the freezing water below. The cold could paralyze the human body within minutes. Not everyone made it back out. Besides the danger of drowning, they also suffered deep cuts from their saws, broken bones from falling ice, and complete exhaustion from working in brutal winter conditions. Yet every year, they returned, because for many poor families, this was one of the few ways to earn money during the winter. By the 19th century, the ice trade had become a massive industry. Millions of tons of ice were harvested every year. Ships loaded with ice crossed entire oceans. Ice from frozen lakes in North America was sent to places that had never even seen snow. For a brief moment in history, ice was worth a fortune. An entire industry depended on winter. But it wouldn't last forever. In the early 20th century, electric refrigerators changed everything. People no longer had to wait for winter. They no longer needed giant frozen lakes. And they no longer needed the ice cutters. Within just a few decades, a profession that had once employed thousands of people disappeared completely. The lakes became quiet. The ice houses were abandoned. And the men who once harvested winter itself slowly faded into history. The next time you open your refrigerator and drop a few ice cubes into your drink, remember this: not very long ago, someone had to walk onto a frozen lake, with his life hanging beneath his feet, just so the world could enjoy something cold. Would you have become an ice cutter?